in Pittsburgh, the Steelers have won 21 consecutive Monday Night Football home games. Their last loss was actually to the Giants.
On a dark night in late October, the Steelers were preparing to strike fear into the opposition with the help of Steelers Nation. Disguised in their color rush uniforms, the players looked to treat the fans to some Monday night magic.
Hey, what are we talking about? It's Monday Night Football. Y'all been living all your football lives for moments like this. It ain't nothing mystical about it. Y'all made plays on every team you ever been on. Make them at night. Playmakers on three. 1, 2, 3. Playmakers.
Don't take for granted, take advantage. Look around, this is the Duke to get it done today, all right? Define your moment. The moment is right now. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dominate.
A win tonight, the 100th primetime win for the Steelers. Let's get that tonight.
Here we go.
This pass is caught, and that's a touchdown.
That's the way to work. Come on.
He's hit that sack. The Steelers win the football game.
Let's go. Come get it. You know what it is.
This one is in the history books.
Here we go.
Welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. I'm Missi Matthews. This is a bye-week edition. The Steelers are sitting at 6-2, and their last game, a big Monday night win over the New York Giants. Mike Tomlin has the week off, but joining me, as always, Bob Pompeani to discuss. We got to start with Monday night. 3 primetime games in a 4-week span for the Steelers, and just to finish at 6-2. Heading into your bye week, knowing what's ahead, you finally get to play an AFC North division opponent. But what stood out to you most, Bob, about the Giants win?
Well, once again, just Mr. Monday Night, Mike Tomlin. I mean, he doesn't lose on these Monday nights. And you would think that a game like this with the Giants coming into town, kind of wounded, not playing all that well, could be a dangerous thing. What we saw on Sunday, Missy, the day before, was the Ravens lost to the Browns. We saw the Bengals struggle at home again. So it was prime for that kind of thing, but they fought through that. I think there were some early glitches, but what I took away from it mostly was they came up with clutch plays at clutch times, whether that's a punt return, whether that's TJ Watt winning a game at the very end when everyone knew you had to watch out for him, or whether it was the Steelers really doing well on third down. It doesn't matter, third or short,
third
or
long,
medium, third
right.
or long, all of them. And I think that's a really good sign for this team.
What did you make of Russell Wilson having a chance to start for the second time? The Jets game felt like he was knocking some rust off. But I thought on Monday night we saw something different, even though some of those early touchdowns didn't count, but not on his behalf.
Not on his behalf. And I think you saw a professional quarterback at work. You know, that's what he does. He's very good at deep balls, managing games, as well as putting the ball on the money on short to medium passes, which allow for some yards after catch. So I think you're seeing Russell Wilson do what exactly they wanted him to do when he came here, which is why he was anointed the pole position player, because he has a whole history of this on his background. So it was a matter of, just getting him back to where he has to be. And quite frankly, I didn't think he was all that bad in Denver last year, Missy. We saw 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. What's not to like about that? But for some reason, he was made available, and the Steelers made sure he ended up here.
What did you make of the run game? Najee Harris able to go over 100 yards, 3 straight games, first time in his career. It just seems like he's running angry, and that's something that just has not stopped, which is good for the Steelers.
No question about it. And whatever's motivating him is working, because angry runs, not willing to be tackled, yards after contact, he leads the NFL in that. But I also think it's a good play-action mix. You know, it starts there. Arthur Smith wants to do that. Mike Tomlin wants to do that. And so when you run it consistently and when you're committed to it, it opens up the play-action. And Russell Wilson's very good at play-action. I don't think many people can do it the way he does it. He sells it well. He puts the ball on money when he goes down the field. And I think he's unlocked the passing game down the field, which is something that the Steelers really needed to unlock.
Beanie Bishop officially ending the game. The New York Giants' hopes of maybe, making that into something different. But TJ Watt, that play stands out. Alex Highsmith, though, on the other side, he also had 2 sacks. What have you seen from him since he's back from injury?
Well, last night, he had 12 pressures, I think it was. It was a ridiculous amount. And certainly whenever you're going to put more attention to TJ Watt, that helps Highsmith. But also, I think Highsmith can help Watt, because they have to now account for him. And I think you saw that play at the end of the game. They did not help him. I think Singletary's in the game, and he did not go over and chip or help. And as a result, Watt just came right in, and punched out the ball, recovered the ball. He got the hat trick of all hat tricks right there to end the game. So I think one helps the other. And man, you don't even have Nick Herbig in there, and he's anxious to get back in the lineup and make things happen as well. So that's a really good deep position.
All right, as you said, 22 consecutive Monday Night Football wins at home for the Pittsburgh Steelers, keeping that streak going. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll talk about some of our top moments from the first half of the season and also look ahead. You're watching the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Welcome back, everyone, to our bye-week edition of the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. Let's go all the way back to week 1. And, Bob, their first 2 games for the Steelers on the road, not an easy thing to do. They come home, they go to 3-0, and then we see their first loss. But what really stands out, those 2 games on the road for you, being able to get those wins?
Well, first of all, just anytime you win on the road, Missy, it's a big thing in the NFL. I think they caught Cousins at a very good time. He was just coming off that surgery, first ever opportunity to play, and he was kind of stationary, and I think the Steelers knew that, and they played it well because they flooded back, put pressure up front, didn't need to blitz all that much, and that was a big part of that game. He since has gone on to be a pretty efficient quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Then bottom line is you go to Denver and get a win. I think anytime you do that at that place, and they since have surged as well. So I think the Steelers, if you're going to go on the road early in the season against a young quarterback like Bo Nix and a veteran one coming off an injury, that was probably a good time to do both.
I think it's crazy. The NFL is week to week, and we say that, but you don't really think about it until you go back. That week 3 game, the Steelers home opener, those were the top 2 defenses between the Steelers and the Chargers at that time. So much has changed and transpired as you get through 8 weeks of the season. But what stood out about the home opener and how they were able to gut out that win?
Just physicality. I think Jim Harbaugh wants to play that way. That's what he does. That's what he did at Michigan. Kind of, run physical domination, stop the run that way. J.K. Dobbins came into that game as one of the best in the game, and the Steelers pretty much shut him down when they had to do it. So I thought it was just a good physical win for them at home, knowing that that's the kind of style they're going to have to play. And the best thing about it, Missy, is the fact that it's an AFC opponent, which is a tiebreaker possibility. And the way things are all put together here, who knows? You may need to pull up that card at the end of the season.
All right, they go to Indy, and on paper you say they're out a number of starters. It doesn't feel like this should be a game the Steelers lose, but very quickly they got themselves into a hole. They were able to try to get out of it, but they did not leave Indianapolis with a W.
No, and the funny thing was when Anthony Richardson got injured on that play and out of the game, Flacco comes in. I thought, you know what? We've seen enough Flacco over the years. Maybe it's better if Richardson had stayed in because Flacco came in and did a very good job. And quite frankly, he's not afraid to make plays, and he did make plays. But when you go down 17-0, I don't care who you are, where you're playing, that's a hard thing to come back. You almost have to be perfect. And I thought Justin Fields played very well in the second half. He brought them back on the precipice to a win, but it just didn't happen. But again, the lessons learned, you can't fall behind that big.
And ironically, Flacco getting into the game, Ben Roethlisberger was on site to watch it at Lucas Oil. What did you make of how Justin Fields, who spent so much time with the ones in training camp, but then Russell Wilson was the starter heading into week 1. The calf injury pops back up, and he was the guy and was able to get them to 3-0.
Given what he had done in Chicago, which is turn the ball over a lot, I thought what we saw from Justin Fields was efficient quarterback play, using his legs to get out of problems. Maybe so much so that he overdid it at times, because I think if you stay back just a little bit more, plays down the field do tend to open up. But that's an element of his game that is a good element of his game. But I thought he, more than anything, was efficient with the football, did not turn the ball over, rarely. He had some worthy plays that could have been turnovers, but much reduced from Chicago. And I think that's a testament to the coaching he gets here in this particular culture of a football team.
I think also helpful, able to use his legs, especially with some of the injuries and different things happening with the offensive line. I know it's hard, but going back through weeks 1 through 4, what's your top play that sticks out?
Well, a lot of good defensive plays. That's what sticks out. But the one I will pick is Corey Trice in Denver. Closed the game, basically. And I thought the way he handled that, he knew that he had an opportunity to get back to that play. He read the quarterback's eyes very well. And the fact that he had been out for so long and anxious to show that he can do the things that I think they wanted him to do as a 7th-round draft pick, I thought that was the play of that game that ran it up and against Bo Nix, who's since becoming a very good quarterback in this league, I thought was very important.
So Nix in the shotgun, has McLaughlin to his right. Now he motions him to the left, brings him back to the right again. Nick's back, looking over the middle of the field. It's intercepted. And there is Corey Trice in the back of the end zone with his first career interception.
Way to fight. That's that 7-shot before we live. Oh, Sweet Marie, what a beautiful job of coming through at the moment you're most needed. In a time of need, Corey Trice stands tall.
I'm so happy for you, dog. Good shit, man. Good shit. God bless you. Come on, dog.
All right, Bob, I'm going to go with the same game, unfortunately, but I think Darnell Washington getting that first touchdown, something they said they had practiced so much, never came to fruition. He does it in a game, and it foreshadowed a little bit what we would see from number 80, because I think you go back to last year, it was more how can you block, how can you help, and we've seen him become more of a receiving threat.
And as the year gone on, you see more and more of it now, especially with Russell Wilson there. We saw, 4 in the one game? So he's a great blocker, but yeah, that's an element of his game. I don't think anyone wants to tackle him. Would you want to tackle him?
No.
I mean, that guy coming at you is like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Get out of his way.
You duck.
It is the 12th play of this drive for the Steelers, looking to punch it in for their first touchdown of the season. Gets the snap, looks out left, fires, corner of the end zone, caught, touchdown, the first career touchdown for Darnell Mount Washington has given the Steelers the first score of the game.
Oh, baby, that's how you waffle. Right there. That's beautiful. A little flag route underneath there, and he dropped the ball perfectly into the hands of Mount Washington. I got to tell you, that is exciting. What a drive.
How did you feel? Feel crazy. Feel crazy.
All right, well, that was weeks 1 through 4. We're going to take a break, and when we return, we'll look at weeks 5 through 8 as we sit here during the bye week.
Now it's time for your Yinz Chat trivia question. What down was the Immaculate Reception played? 3rd down or 4th down? You can find out after the break.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Your Yinz Chat trivia answer is 4th down. Answer trivia and predictive questions to compete against Steelers Nation for a chance to win a mini helmet autographed by Joey Porter Sr. and Jr. Remember to play every week for a chance at the grand prize at the end of the season.
All right, taking a look now at weeks 5 through 8 for the Pittsburgh Steelers during the bye week, sitting at 6-2, and things got a little prime-timey during this stretch. I think a lot of fans excited for another game in Vegas, but 3 primetime games at home in these 4 weeks, and the Steelers were able to get in the win column.
Yeah, I mean, they play their best football in those situations, Missy. But, the Dallas game was one that was winnable. They had chances. They didn't do it. And Landon Roberts made a great play to jar the ball loose, and if they recover that, they win another game. But again, it led to one play, and Dak Prescott made a play. But after that, again, I think physicality is the name of their game, offensively and defensively, and we saw that play out in those subsequent weeks.
We saw Justin Fields for 2 more games during that 4-game stretch, and then Russell Wilson taking over. I think when Coach Tomlin made that decision, I think a lot of people maybe not sure if it was the right one, but what did you see when he did make that decision?
I just thought he was going to go back to his original plan, which was Russell Wilson's my starter. He's the pole position guy, and they wanted to wait until he was healthy enough to do it. And I think that's a good strategy because calf injuries can be difficult, but I understood why people were a little bit apprehensive about that. And in the first half of the first game he played, people were getting a little edgy about what they saw, but you had to expect some sort of layoff. 11 months he hadn't played a football game, so he was a little rusty. But Fields played well. I just think Mike Tomlin admitted in the press conference we did here the one day that it was good but not great. And he wants to see great. He knows what Russell Wilson can do. He defers to that resume. And that is what he got. And so it was a very good move by a guy who should be considered for Coach of the Year through 8 games in the AFC.
What about the Steelers' defense? It felt like maybe there were some chunk plays throughout those games, but as we've talked about, TJ Watt, those guys knowing when to make plays at the right time that really can flip a ball game.
I think the Steelers have something the Ravens do not have, Cincinnati does not have, and Cleveland does not have. Closers on both sides. They can come at you, and you have to pick your poison with Highsmith and Watt. Guys who can, you may give up some yards, but when it comes right down to it, when they have to make a play, it seems like they always make a play, specifically TJ Watt. And when you do that, you're going to win a lot of games in crunch time, and that's what they did.
Going back to the Steelers offense, did you learn anything new about Arthur Smith's system when Russell Wilson came in as the starter?
Just that it works. I mean, if you do it the right way and you run the ball, play action works. They have some nice tight end targets. I think you saw as games were on, Calvin Austin became a bigger part of it. Van Jefferson makes some plays, spread the ball around. Again, that's something that if you look at Russell's career, he's good about doing that, moving the ball in different directions and getting people involved. So it all starts with, winning the line of scrimmage, and that's saying something, Missy, because they've had so many injuries to their offensive line, and yet these guys have come in, whether it's McCollum or McCormick, they've done a very good job and opened up some holes, and running backs have taken advantage.
All right, weeks 5 through 8, can you talk about one of your top moments during that stretch?
I'm glad you said plural moments, because I have 2 runs from the Vegas game with Najee Harris that really stood out to me. The one that he carried about 20 people with him and would not be denied. Thing about him, and I don't want to jinx anyone, but he never fumbles the football, despite all of that pressure and people around him punching, jabbing, trying to get the ball out. And then the 36-yard touchdown run, great block by Freiermuth, but he made a play before it ever got to that where he cut and left somebody in the dirt and then just turned it on in silence. I think that's a different kind of Najee Harris in that he has, when he gets to open space, and it hasn't really happened all that much over the first 3 years, he can turn it on and do some things that we saw from him in Alabama. So those 2 plays stuck out for me.
Harris, the lone setback, will get the pitch. The Steelers trying to seal the edge. Najee, able to slide inside one tackle, get down the sideline. Najee Harris racing towards the end zone, sprawls out. Is he in? Touchdown, Steelers. What a run by Najee Harris.
What a run by the Iron Horse. Did you see him? He ghosted 2 men on the end of the line. Then he took it up the sidelines and like Superman laid out and got the end zone. Oh, that was sensational. You got to be here to see that and believe that.
Najee Harris, 12 carries, 102 yards, and that is the first running back touchdown for the Steelers this year on the ground, and Najee Harris finishing it off as he leaps forward from the 5-yard line, extends the football, catches the pylon, and scores for the Steelers.
And who had the key block down the field? None other than Pat Freiermuth. Nice job.
All right, Bob, I have to go with the undrafted guy out of West Virginia, Beanie Bishop. I think he was picked on earlier in the season, probably learned some rough rookie lessons, but gave credit to Mike Tomlin. They do some early film study on Friday mornings together. But to pick off Aaron Rodgers twice, your first 2 interceptions, and the first one, what it meant at that point in the game, keeping points off of the board and giving the Steelers a chance to start digging themselves out of that hole.
No question. That was a great interception. The second one was more of a mistake on Garrett Wilson, but so
still
be it.
Counted.
If he had scored, I think he would have been the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. I think that unfairly went against him, but he did enough in that game to be considered in that role, certainly.
Steelers defense needs to rally here and come up with a stop before the half.
How about a takeaway? I know somebody wants a Rodgers ball.
1:25 and counting remaining here in this first half. Hits the snap. Steelers rushing 4. Rodgers throws over the middle of the field, and there's your interception. It is picked off. Craig Wolfley, you called it, and it is picked off by Beanie Bishop, who is having a terrific game for the Steelers.
Oh, yeah, Beanie. You got it, buddy. That's the way to go. Falling back into coverage, undercutting the route. It looked like a one-hander. I got to see the replay. But tremendous catch right there. And I know you got to treasure that ball. That is a certified Aaron Rodgers football that you picked his pocket clean.
Tremendous interception by Beanie Bishop.
Hey, one-hander.
All right, Bob, it's nice to sit here at the bye week, not worrying about if the Steelers are going to win and lose, but it is not an easy road ahead for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Have not played a division game yet. You go to Washington, and then you finally see the Baltimore Ravens. It feels like this is how the NFL stacked it up. They knew Hard Knocks was going to be covering the AFC North. What do you make of what they need to do to keep the momentum going?
Well, first of all, they did what they had to do in the first 8, which I thought built up some space, some insurance games, because if you did start 4-4, 5-3, all of a sudden these games are even more important. 6-2 now, they're in a nice position, sole possession of the lead in the AFC North with all these games coming up. The key is being efficient and not turning the ball over. And I think Mike Tomlin has beat that in everyone's head, and it's working to the point where they haven't made a lot of mistakes. They have created turnovers. That's going to be a big part of this. And we did not in the last segment, and we should have mentioned bubblegum chewing Danny Smith, because those special teams plays are significant in all these games. And if they have a special teams coach of the year, he should win it. But those kinds of things matter, especially in tight games. The NFL makes every game, it seems, a one-possession game, and it comes down to the final few minutes. So I would expect that in just about every game moving forward.
Yeah, first punt return for a touchdown since Deontay Johnson did it in 2019, and then blocking a punt, a field goal, an extra point. I mean, those do matter, as you said. So shout out to those guys. In terms of the AFC North, who scares you the most at this point?
I still say Baltimore, because Baltimore has an offense that has not been stopped, even in their recent loss to Cleveland. Lamar Jackson did what he had to do. The defense collapsed. I think the one advantage, again, I'll say it about Pittsburgh's defense versus Baltimore's, they don't have as many closers as Pittsburgh does. And so I think the Steelers are in a better position in that situation. I think Baltimore's defense can be had. But again, you're going to have to score points to beat that team, because they've scored over 20, I think, in every game this year. So with Derrick Henry back there, that team, if I'm looking at a problematic team, the Ravens would be it.
In terms of injuries, I think the bye week coming at the right time, not that they have a choice, but maybe Zach Frazier, Cordero Patterson, Nick Herbig, guys like that can get healthy and join the group as they're going.
And I also think it was a good call by the coaching staff, Mike Tomlin, that, err on the side of caution. Zach Frazier probably wanted to play that same night he got injured, right? You were down there.
We watched him crawl across the field at West Virginia. So, yes, he tried everything to stay in that game.
But he knows it's a long season. Right. And Tomlin knows, I give you time. We have a bye week coming up. Same for Herbig. He probably could have played. And Patterson's a big part of this. He's like the Darnell Washington of running backs. I wouldn't want to stand in his way. You watch him in this facility, you say, holy cow, you're a running back? So, yeah, I think they've made sure those guys are going to be part of this, and good for them to give them extra time.
All right. Well, I hope you have a great bye week and
you too,
take some time to relax. And we will return next Saturday with head coach Mike Tomlin. Thanks so much to everybody for watching tonight, the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. We will see you next week.